At 2:14 a.m. under full blackout conditions, military vehicles rolled into a civilian seaport and sealed it off in less than 9 minutes. No press, no warning, no explanation. Dock workers were ordered to stand down. Phones were confiscated. A naval patrol vessel cut its engines just beyond the harbor mouth and held position like it was guarding something that wasn't supposed to surface. What they were responding to wasn't a fire or a spill or an incoming threat. It was something that had already come up from beneath the water. And for the next 72 hours, the port did not belong to the city. It belonged to the military. If you think you know what hides under major seaports, stay with this case. Subscribe, like, and share this video before we open the file. Because once you hear what was found that night, you won't look at the ocean the same way again. A.M. Singh Case File. Classification: Restricted Maritime Incident. Location: a strategic North Atlantic seaport serving both commercial shipping and joint naval logistics for UK and US operations. Date: redacted in official release, confirmed by multiple dockside witnesses as late autumn, heavy fog, low tide. The first sign was not visual, it was acoustic. Harbor sonar operators detected an object rising vertically from the seabed inside a restricted anchorage zone normally reserved for fuel carriers. The shape was narrow, elongated, metallic. It did not match any registered vessel hull, wreckage map, or known underwater structure. It had not been there 12 hours earlier during routine scans. The object moved upward slowly, too slowly for debris forced by current, too controlled for random displacement. It stopped 6 meters below the surface. At 1:32 a.m., the harbor master contacted Naval Liaison Command. At 2:14 a.m., the port was locked down. Witness statement: dockworker A. They came in quiet, no sirens, just headlights cutting through fog. Soldiers stepped out before the engines were off. Thermal imaging from a Coast Guard helicopter revealed a cold mass beneath the water, colder than surrounding sea temperature by several degrees. That detail alone triggered military protocol. Temperature anomalies of that scale inside a commercial harbor suggest machinery or containment. Divers were not sent immediately. Instead, a perimeter was established. 2 fast patrol boats created a floating boundary while armed personnel secured the keys. Civilian harbor control was relieved of authority. Military command took over all communications. At 3:05 a.m., the object breached the surface. Not explosively, not violently. It rose like something buoyant finally released from weight below. Witnesses described a metallic cylinder approximately 12 meters long, matte dark, no visible markings, no registry numbers, no corrosion consistent with long-term submersion. It appeared maintained. No known submarine model matched its dimensions. No distress signal had been logged. No foreign vessel was reported missing. It floated in silence. A naval boarding team approached with caution. Body cams recorded their initial contact. The cylinder had a hatch, circular, reinforced, no handle visible from outside. Instead, a recessed panel embedded flush with the surface. Engineers scanned it for radiation. Negative. Explosives detection. Negative. Magnetic readings, elevated but stable. At 3:42 a.m., without external manipulation, the hatch unlocked from the inside. It did not swing open fully. It lifted 3 inches and stopped. The boarding team froze. Inside was darkness. Not mechanical interior lighting, not emergency strobes, just black. A fiber optic scope was inserted through the gap. The footage remains partially classified, but 3 consistent details were confirmed by personnel interviewed years later under condition of anonymity. First, the interior walls were smooth, seamless, not riveted or welded in any visible way. Second, there were no seats, no visible controls, no engine housing. Third, the interior was dry, no condensation. No residual water intrusion, no smell of salt. The object had risen from beneath the harbor floor, and it was dry inside. Military protocol shifted immediately from retrieval to containment. The cylinder was stabilized using flotation rigs and guided to a secured naval pier within the port, an area rarely photographed and never accessible to civilians. Floodlights illuminated the scene through heavy fog. Armed guards posted every 20 meters. By sunrise, rumors were spreading across the city. By noon, the official statement was issued. Routine military training exercise. It was not routine. Structural engineers conducted preliminary scans. The material composition did not align perfectly with standard naval alloys. It was metallic, yes, but with density variance inconsistent across its surface. Almost layered. At 11:17 a.m., internal pressure sensors detected a change. Something inside shifted. The hatch, previously ajar by 3 inches, sealed itself shut. No external force applied, no personnel nearby. Internal microphones placed against the hull recorded faint vibrations. Not mechanical rotation, not engine startup. Rhythmic, 3 pulses, pause, 3 pulses, pause. Divers were finally deployed to inspect the seabed where the object had emerged. They found an indentation, circular, symmetrical, approximately the same diameter as the cylinder, as if something had been docked beneath the harbor floor. No construction permits, no military base beneath that sector, no historical underground facility on record. Ground-penetrating sonar was brought in. Below the indentation, extending downward into silt and rock, was a vertical shaft, perfectly cylindrical, artificial. It descended beyond sonar penetration limits. At this stage, Joint Command was activated between Naval Intelligence and Defense Ministry officials. The working theory shifted toward clandestine foreign insertion technology, an unauthorized submerged platform hidden within harbor limits. But that theory collapsed when archive files were cross-referenced. In 1983, during unrelated dredging operations in the same sector, workers reported striking hollow metal before equipment failure forced abandonment of that excavation. No follow-up recorded. In 1961, naval divers mapping harbor foundations logged anomalous cavity readings, but attributed them to sediment displacement. In 1944, wartime harbor defenses included classified anti-submarine netting anchored precisely in that location, though no record explains why that exact zone was prioritized over others. Patterns, layers of secrecy built over decades. Back at the secured pier, engineers prepared to breach the cylinder's hatch manually. Before they could, it opened again, this time fully. Floodlights poured inside. The interior remained empty. No crew, no machinery. Just a hollow chamber approximately 10 meters long, and at its center, bolted to the floor, a steel crate. Markings stamped across its surface were not in a foreign language. They were domestic. Military designation codes. Old ones. Decommissioned classification formats used during Cold War naval projects. The crate was removed under armed supervision and transported immediately to an inland defense research facility. The cylinder remained under guard. Within 48 hours, it began to corrode rapidly. Oxidation accelerated unnaturally fast, as if exposure to open air triggered structural decay. By the 3rd day, surface flaking had rendered it unstable. By the 5th, it had collapsed inward like weakened foil. No fragments retained their original structural integrity. The shaft beneath the harbor was filled with reinforced concrete within a week. Officially, the incident never happened. Unofficially, one retired officer later confirmed that the crate contained archival documents and components from a classified experimental naval program believed lost in the early 1960s. A project involving autonomous submerged capsules designed to remain dormant beneath strategic ports for decades. Dormant. Waiting. The question was not who placed the cylinder beneath the harbor. The question was when. Because records indicated the experimental program had been shut down before any operational deployment. Yet something had been deployed, and it had remained hidden beneath civilian shipping lanes for generations. No evidence suggests hostile intent. No weapons were found. But the fact remains. A military-grade submerged capsule surfaced itself inside an active seaport, opened without external command, and delivered a sealed crate from a project officially erased from public record. The harbor resumed operations 3 days later. Cargo cranes swung again. Container ships docked as if nothing had risen from below. But sonar logs in subsequent months showed something else. The shaft beneath the harbor, supposedly filled and sealed, occasionally produced brief, unexplainable echoes. Vertical, cylindrical, rising a few meters, then stopping. This case remains partially classified. The military handled it. The port never acknowledged it. And somewhere beneath that quiet stretch of commercial water, concrete covers a hole that no civilian authority ever approved. This has been A.M. Singh case file. Some secrets sink. Others wait for the tide to change.